All right, so what we're working on today is adding integers. In a little review, the word integer means a whole number, positive or negative, but it's a whole number. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to add whole numbers that are positive and negative. Maybe we'll have one positive and one negative, maybe we'll have two positives, maybe we'll have two negatives, but we're going to work on adding them. In this example here, it says talk about a car that goes forward 20 feet. Well, going forward is like going in a positive direction, and they represent that with the number 20, positive 20. And then it says the car backs up 20 feet. Well, if you go backward, that's like going negative. So what happens mathematically, we say the car went forward 20 feet, positive 20, and then we're going to add in negative 20. We're going to add in going backwards 20. Well, when I add those together, I get 0 because positive 20 and negative 20 are opposites. Remember, a little review here, we talked about opposites. Opposites have the same value. That means they're the same distance from 0 on the number line, but in opposite directions or different directions. So positive 20 is on the right of 0, 20 spaces. Negative 20 is on the left of 0, 20 places. When you add opposites together, you always get 0. So what do negative numbers look like? Well, negative 3, negative 17, negative 457. All negative numbers start with a negative sign or a minus sign, however you want to think of it. Now, positive numbers like positive 13, positive 72, they can be written just as the plain number. Notice there's no sign in front of it. Or you could put a positive, put a plus sign in front of it. You don't have to. So positive numbers can be written two ways. They can be written plain, like 574, or positive numbers could have a plus sign, a positive sign in front of them. And that's important to know that positive numbers can be written two different ways, but negative numbers must have that minus sign in front of them. One way to add integers, it's not really efficient, but it's a way that gives you a visual. One way is to draw a model, and that's what they want us to practice here. So we'll practice it a little bit, and then we'll come up with other ways to add integers. It says draw a model to find 2 plus negative 5. Well, 2 I know is a positive number, so I'm going to draw a picture of two positives, two plus signs. Okay. Now it says add in here 5 negatives. Well, negatives have to have a minus sign, so I'm going to put in 5 minuses. Now I kind of like to think of this as like a battlefield. Okay, we got the positives and the negatives, the good guys and the bad guys, kind of like Star Wars if you're somebody who watches science fiction. And they're going to have a battle, and they're going to battle until they destroy each other. Well, this positive right here and this negative right here are going to have a battle, and they destroy each other. They're gone. And this positive is going to have a battle with one of these negatives, maybe this one down here, and they battle each other until they destroy each other. Hey, look what's left. 3 negatives are left. So positive 2 plus negative 5 equals negative 3. Drawing a model is one way to represent an addition problem with integers. So these are 3 for you to practice. It says draw a model for each one. Now we'll practice drawing models just for a couple more minutes, and then we'll move on to other ways to do this. So now's a good time to stop the video. Try all 3 of these by drawing a model. Come up with an answer. Once you have an answer, press play again and see if your answer agrees with mine. All right, so hopefully you've had time to try all 3 of these. Now I'm going to draw the model, and again, drawing the model maybe isn't really efficient, but we're going to do it a little bit, and then we'll come up with other ways. It says start with negative 1, so I got 1 minus. And then it says add in 4 positives, so I'm going to add in 4 pluses to this battlefield. And again, if I think of it like a Star Wars battle, I got 1 bad guy and 1 good guy, and they battle until they destroy each other. Hey, I'm left with 1, 2, 3 positives. I'm left with positive 3, and I know positive 3 could be written as 3, or it could be written with a plus sign, positive 3. So negative 1 plus positive 4 equals 3, or positive 3. Same thing happens here. They want us to start with 7, and 7 is a positive number, so I'm going to draw 7 pluses. And then it says add into the battlefield 3 minuses, 3 negatives. So there's 3 negatives, 3 minuses. And again, they're going to have a battle. So these 2 battle until they're gone, and these 2 battle until they're gone, and these 2 battle until they're gone, and I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4 positives. So my answer is 4, positive 4. Now let's take a look at this last one, letter C. It says I have 2 negatives, 2 bad guys. It says add into the battlefield 2 more negatives. Okay? Well, in the first two problems, they had to battle because they were on opposite teams. They were good guys and bad guys, pluses and minuses. But here, they're not going to fight. They're all on the same team. So 2 negatives plus 2 more negatives, 2 bad guys plus 2 more bad guys leaves me with -4, or 4 bad guys. Okay, so drawing a model is one way. Not really efficient, but it does work. Another way is to use a number line. I like to use this example, football. Okay? When you start, we say 0. That means you haven't gained any yards. It's first down. So you haven't gained any yards. You haven't lost any yards. You have a 0 gain so far. Well, it says on the first play, first they lose 8 yards. Well, if they lose 8 yards, they get knocked back 8 yards. Not a good thing. So now they're back here. Second down. Says they gained 3 yards. So if they're here and they gain, that means they go forward 1, 2, 3 yards. So they're finishing right here at -5. So that tells me that -8 plus 3 is -5. Now you might say, well, I don't really like the number line. I like drawing pictures better. Well, if we do this exact same problem by drawing those pictures that we did before, it says start with 8 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives. And then it says add in 3 positives. Okay, so let's add in 3 positives, 3 pluses, 3 good guys. There they are. And they're going to have this big battle. These 2 will cancel, and these 2 will cancel, and this one will cancel. Look at that. We're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are left with 5 negatives, -5. So drawing the picture was one good way. A number line might be a good way for you. And that's what they'd like you to try in this one, number 2. It says try all 3 of these. Feel free to use the number line. And you know what? If you'd rather draw the pictures because that works better for you, feel free to draw the pictures also. So pause the video, try all 3 of them, come back and see if your answers match my answer. All right, let's take a look. Letter A here says start at 2. 2 is +2. So I was at 0. I went forward 2. 1, 2. I'm here. Then it says add in 6 negatives. Well, 6 negatives, just like the football example, they got thrown back 6 yards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where'd they finish? They finished at -4. And if you like the pictures better, look at this. 2 positives, 6 negatives, have the battle. Again, you're left with -4. So it doesn't matter if you draw a picture. It doesn't matter if you use a number line. We should get the same answer either way. Let's take a look at letter B. Use the football example again. We start here. It's first down. We get thrown back 4 yards. On the next play, we add in 9 positives. That's good. We went forward 9 steps, or 9 yards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We end up at +5. If you like the pictures better, here's 4 bad guys, 4 negatives, 9 good guys this time. And they have their battle. Left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positives, +5. So again, drawing the pictures or using the number line will give us the same answer. Last one here. It says on first down, we get thrown back 5 yards. So remember, first down, we always start at 0. We get thrown back 5 yards. So now we're here. And on second down, we get thrown back another yard. Look at that. We're at -6. Well, let's look. If we draw a picture, -5 means 5 bad guys. Add in 1 negative, 1 more bad. Oh, man, look at that. They're not going to have a battle. They're on the same team. So we finish with -6. Now, after drawing pictures, using number lines, maybe you've come up with a strategy. Maybe you already knew a strategy. That's good. Because drawing the pictures and using the number line are great when we're dealing with small numbers. But think about this problem. -742 plus 1,912. Okay? I don't want to draw pictures. I don't want to draw 742 minus signs. I don't want to draw 1,912 plus signs and have a battle. I don't want to use a number line that goes that big. So it would be great to have a strategy. And that's what this is all about. Rules for adding integers. Now remember, these rules only work for adding. Remember, adding is when there is a plus sign between your 2 numbers. Whether your 2 numbers are positives or negatives or 1 positive or 1 negative, these rules only work when it says to add them. So the first rule is what I call the same sign rule. Same sign rule tells us to add the numbers and keep the sign. So same sign means both of our numbers have the same sign. They both are positive or they both are negative. So if I have a positive 7 plus a positive 8, hey, that's first grade math. 7 plus 8 is positive 15. The rule says add the numbers. I added 7 and 8. Keep the sign. Well, 7 and 8 were both positive, so I keep positive 15. If I drew my pictures, I'd have 7 good guys, 7 positives. And then I'd add in 8 more positives. And if I put them together, that's 15 positives, so that works. Same sign. Hey, if I have two numbers with the same sign, this time I have negative 9 and a negative 3. Now, remember, when you're adding like this negative sign on the 3 might be in parentheses. That's okay. It still means the same as negative 9 plus negative 3 like that. This second way that I just wrote here might confuse kids. They might say negative 9 plus minus 3. Well, just remember, plus is our operation. This minus is with the 3, so it's negative 3. The rule says if the signs are the same, add the numbers. I'm going to add 9 and 3. I get 12. But you got to do the whole rule. The whole rule says keep the sign. Both of these are negative, so my answer is negative. And if I drew the pictures, I'd have 9 bad guys plus 3 more bad guys, so I get negative 12. 12 bad guys. That's the rule for same sign. Now, the rule for different sign says subtract. Subtract the number that looks smaller from the number that looks bigger and keep the sign that there is more of. That's a little confusing. Here's what it means. If our signs are different, I got a positive number like positive 7, and I'm adding in a negative number like negative 2. Just look at them, and instead of adding, even though it says add, since one number is negative and one is positive, I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to say 7 minus 2, because it says subtract the number that looks smaller from the one that looks bigger. 2 looks smaller than 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. Now it says keep the sign that there is more of. Hey, I've got more positives. I've got 7 positives here and only 2 negatives, so my answer is positive 5. Think back to drawing pictures. I would draw 7 good guys and 2 bad guys, and they would have a battle, and I would be left with 5 positives. Let's try another example. This time I've got positive 1 plus negative 8. Let's see. Different signs. One's positive and one's negative. Subtract the number that looks smaller from the one that looks bigger. 1 looks smaller than 8, so I do 8 minus 1, which is 7. Do I have more positives or more negatives? More negatives, so my answer is negative this time. Using a rule helps. It makes you go faster. It also gives you the opportunity to use large numbers. Drawing a picture works great if that's something you still want to do. Using a number line also works great, but they're not as efficient as using these rules. Real quick examples. Negative 12 plus negative 31. Let's see, this is negative, this is negative. They're the same sign. If they're the same sign, we add the numbers. So 12 plus 31 gets me 43. Keep the sign. Oh, they're both negative? Negative 43 is my answer. If I look at letter B, I got a positive plus a negative. Different signs. Different signs means subtract. So 7 looks smaller than 18. I'm going to do 18 minus 7 and get 11. What do I have more of? More positives or more negatives? Oh, more negatives. My answer is negative 11. Using the rules can be very fast. Try these 3. Pause the video. Try these 3. Come back and check your answers against mine. All right, negative 22, negative 16, same sign, so I'm going to add 38. They're both negative, so my answer is negative. Positive 60, negative 13, different signs. I have to subtract 60 minus 13. Got to borrow 47, and then I got to look. There's 60 positives, 13 negatives, more positives, so my answer is positive. Negative 125, positive 35. They're different. We have to subtract, so 125 minus 35. 90. Now I got to look. There's negative 125, positive 30. There's more negatives. My answer is negative. Negative 90. To do order of operations, you still follow the same rules. Negative 12 plus negative 6. Negative 18. Bring everything else down. Negative 18 plus positive 15. Negative 3. Plus negative 2. Negative 5. Try these three, see if your answers match mine. Hopefully you can follow my work and see how I went step by step.